We've had enough coffee. It ought to go. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. Some of you are addicted to this stuff. I'm going to tell you right now. How do I know? It takes one to know one. So maybe we have something to learn from the Mormons, huh? You know, they don't want us addicted to coffee, right? Mormons don't want us addicted to coffee. We could all learn, you know. You never stop learning. And if you say you're not addicted to coffee, then it behooves us to stop lying to the Ruach. Remember Ananias and Sapphira. Just come clean, man. Say, yeah, I'm one of those Israelites that I struggle. I like coffee. I struggle with those beans. Python, part 4, the Python plot, exposing the Ruach of Korach. Before we get started, Benjamin, give me the Hebrew definition of Korach. Bald. So the first thing we think of when we think of bald is someone who is uncovered. Paul said in 1 Corinthians 11, a man should not pray or prophesy with his head uncovered. Now, in the natural, that means we should wear something on our head. I'm sorry, a woman should not pray with her head. And a man should not pray with a facial veil. But covering your head means something entirely different. Why do we wear a head covering? As men. Because it says a woman should not pray or prophesy. But a man also, it's a shame for a man to pray with his face veiled. Why? Because the prostitutes in ancient Greece, the male prostitutes would cover themselves with a facial veil to do their work. So man should not pray or prophesy with a kata. The Greek word is kata, which means a facial hand-me-down, where you could put on lipstick and eyelashes and go to the Greek temples like they used to do. He's writing to the Corinthians, is he not? So the first rule of biblical hermeneutics is who is writing to who. A Hebrew is writing to recovering pagans. A Hebrew is writing to recovering pagans. He's saying when you worship Mashiach, don't have your head kata, veiled, like the temple prostitutes of the pagans in Corinth. That doesn't mean you can't wear a head covering. It could be a baseball cap. It could be a sombrero if you want. It says don't do this. Because the men in Corinth used to go, hi honey, would you like to have a good time? And Paul said, you're not like that, you're Israel. That's what it means. But there's a deeper meaning. That a man should not pray with his face veiled. But there's a deeper meaning. So Yahuwah does not want us to be Korach. Can I get a witness?
Amen.
What is Korach?
¿Qué es Korach?
A bald head.
Un calvo.
So I'm going to give you the punchline before I get into the message.
Así que les voy a dar
I should save the punchline for the end, right?
el enfoque
Yes?
antes de finalizar el mensaje.
But I'm not a
Debería de
conventional preacher.
guardarlo para el final, pero no soy un predicador convencional.
Good thing.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. We are to have our heads
Tenemos que tener nuestras cabezas
covered
cubiertas
lest we fall into the pit.
para no caer en el pozo.
So the word Korach means a dude who had no covering.
Así que eso quiere decir un varón que no tenía
Or a dude who
cobertura.
threw off his covering.
O un hombre que echó fuera su cobertura.
And that is the punchline.
Y ese es el enfoque.
The epilogue. Serving us today as a prologue.
Que nos sirve como un prólogo.
So that I don't know where the Ruach's going to take this because I have no notes.
Así que no sé a dónde nos va a llevar la Ruach con esto porque no tengo notas.
Usually that turns out okay.
Usualmente eso resulta de
So
manera
we'll see how it turns out today.
Veamos cómo nos resulta hoy.
So the bald head without a covering.
Así que el calvo sin cobertura.
Now, I don't know much about the Caribbean and Caribbean culture.
Y no sé mucho de la cultura caribe.
Tova may know.
Quizás Toba conozca.
But I know there's some reggae music that talks about the bald heads.
Pero sé que hay música
So the
reggae
way I
que habla
interpret
de los
those lyrics,
calvos.
it's not a good thing to be called the bald head.
La manera que interpreto esa letra es que no es una cosa provechosa ser llamado un calvo.
What's that?
It's an embarrassment for a man to lose his hair.
There you go. So I know that Marley spoke about those bald heads. We had to chase those bald heads out of town. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound too good. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. So Korach
Así que Korach
didn't have the issue,
no tenía el problema
also known as issue, of being a temple prostitute and veiling his face to pick up men and make money.
de ser un prostituto en el
Didn't have that problem.
y cubrir su rostro para levantar a hombres y hacer dinero. Él no tenía ese problema.
Korach's problem was actually worse.
El problema de Korach era peor.
And we're going to find out what happened.
Y vamos a descubrir qué aconteció.
Again, the Python plot,
Una vez más, el complot de Pitona,
part 4.
cuarta parte,
Exposing
exponiendo
the Ruach
a la Ruach
of Korach.
de Korach.
Now Korach,
Korach,
the son of Ishar, the son of Kohath,
el hijo de... What chapter are you?
16. I'm in number 16.
Números 16.
The son of Kohath,
El hijo de Kohat,
the son of Levi,
el hijo de Leví.
and Datan and Abiram, sons of Eliab,
Y Datán y Abiram, hijos de Eliab.
and On, son of Pelet,
Y On, hijo de Pelet,
sons of Reuben,
de los hijos de Reuben.
took men.
Tomaron gente.
So, number 1,
Primero,
was Korach
¿era Korach
a Levite?
un levita?
Yes, he was.
Sí,
He was called to serve Yahuwah,
fue llamado a servir a Yahuwah.
not on his own,
No solito,
but under a covering.
pero bajo una cobertura.
Because he chose baldness,
Porque él escogió la calvicie.
Yahuwah made him bald in the sight of all Israel for all generations,
Yahuwah lo hizo
for all perpetuity.
a vista de todo Israel por todas las generaciones.
But he was the son of Levi.
Pero era hijo de Leví.
Not only that, how many sons
Y no solo eso, ¿cuántos hijos
did Aaron have?
fue el que tenía Aarón?
Gershom,
Gershom,
I'm sorry, Kohath,
Kohat,
Merari,
Merari,
and one more, escaping me. Kohath, Merari.
Eleazar.
No, I don't believe
Oh,
this.
you mean
That's
Levi,
correct.
sorry.
So the sons of Kohath,
Los hijos de Kohat,
the sons of Levi,
los hijos de Leví,
he was a Levite.
era un levita.
He was of the priestly tribe.
Era de la tribu de ministros.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. And there were Reubenites as well.
Igual se
Datan and
involucraron
Abiram were Reubenites.
descendientes de Reuben.
So we see at least 2 tribes in this uprising.
Así que por lo menos vemos a 2 tribus en esta rebelión.
And they rose up
Y se levantaron
before Moshe
contra Moshe,
with certain of the children of Israel.
con 250 varones de los hijos de Israel.
250 leaders.
250 líderes.
So this was a huge rebellion.
Esta fue una rebelión grandota.
Because not only did it involve the Levitical priesthood,
Porque no solamente involucraba el ministerio de Leví,
it involved men of fame,
involucraba hombres de renombre,
men who were recognized as elders
varones reconocidos como ancianos
in the Kehillah of
en
Israel.
la congregación de Israel.
Famous men,
Hombres conocidos,
men of name recognition.
de renombre.
Look up those three sons of Levi for me there, Benjamin. I know I got
Es Kohat,
Kohath, Merari, and Gershon. Okay. So the Kohanim came from Kohath.
Así que los Kohanim venían de Kohat.
Now, this reminds me of the book of Enoch,
Y esto me recuerda del libro de Enoch,
chapters 6 through 9,
capítulos 6 a 9,
where we have 200 demons
donde tenemos a 200 demonios
who led the conspiracy
que lideraron la conspiración
against Yahuwah.
en contra de Yahuwah.
And they took daughters
Y tomaron hijas
of men
de varones, de los hombres,
and created Nephilim,
y crearon a los Nefalim,
giants in the earth.
gigantes en la tierra.
So on one hand we have the 200 fallen demons
Así que por una parte tenemos a los 200
who
demonios
rebelled against Yahuwah.
que se rebelaron en contra de Yahuwah.
They were famous demons.
Eran demonios conocidos,
They were leaders in the Shamayim.
líderes en los Shemaim.
And then on earth we have 250
Y en la tierra tenemos a 250
men that were well known in the camp.
varones conocidos de manera muy joven en el campamento.
And the scriptures tell us
Y las escrituras nos dicen
that they rose up before Moshe,
que se levantaron delante de Moshe,
not in respect,
no con respeto,
like Torah requires.
como lo requiere
Did you know
Torah.
Torah requires that?
¿Saben que Torah lo requiere?
Did you know that when I went to Trinidad, I told you guys this before,
¿Saben que cuando fui a Trinidad, ya les he contado,
Rivka and I walked into the room,
Rivka y yo entramos al cuarto,
and we were just talking and chatting,
estábamos simplemente hablando,
and everybody was
conversando,
standing.
y todo el mundo estaba de
This
pie.
went on for like 40
Y
minutes,
esto pasó por 40 minutos,
because we like to talk.
porque nos gusta hablar.
And then I said to Asa,
Entonces le dije a Asa,
well, why don't they sit down?
¿por qué no se sienta la
She says,
gente?
because you're not sitting
Dice,
down.
porque usted no está
I don't
sentada.
understand.
No entiendo.
Because the Torah says when you see an elder, you're supposed to get up.
Es que Torah dice que cuando ves a un anciano
What a different
levantado,
culture we
te
live
tienes
in
que
today.
levantar. Y hoy
Today,
vivimos
today an
en
elder is
una-
somebody
una
that we
cultura
laugh at,
diferente.
we talk about.
Hoy cuando hablamos de un anciano es alguien de quien, con quien hablamos, con quien nos reímos.
We don't see them as gifts
No los vemos como dones
from Yahuwah
de Yahuwah
for our life
para nuestras vidas
and into our life.
y en nuestras vidas.
And so finally I said to Rivka, I think we should sit down.
Así que por fin le dije a Rivka, creo que debemos de sentarnos.
I can't get started with all these people standing.
No puedo empezar con toda esta gente
But
levantada.
it hit me like a ton of bricks that the reason they're not sitting down is because we're standing and
Y
talking.
la razón que
Right?
entendí que no se sentaban es porque nosotros estábamos levantados y hablando.
But how different are the ways of Israel?
Pero qué diferentes son los caminos de Israel.
Today when people say, let's rise up before Moshe,
Hoy cuando la gente dice levantémonos delante de Moshe,
rise up means rebellion,
levantarse quiere decir rebelión,
anarchy,
anarquía,
coup d'etat
coup d'état
of Yahuwah's government.
del gobierno de Yahweh.
And they gathered themselves together
Y se reunieron
against Moshe.
contra Moshe.
See, rebellion never lives alone.
Ven, la rebelión nunca vive sola.
Rebellion always effeminates itself to find others who have the same spirit, and they encourage one another and bring the rebellion out in one another. Mark those, the word of Yahuwah says, who cause division and go over for coffee and cake. Is that what the word says? No. Mark them and, what's the next word? Anyone? Avoid them.
La palabra dice
Mark
que
them
tenemos que marcar
and avoid them.
a las personas que se levantan en rebelión y que evitemos a esas personas.
So, rebellion loves company.
Así que a la rebelión le gusta reunirse con
The
otros.
200 fallen watchers
Los 200 acosadores caídos
are the pattern
son el patrón
of the rebels.
de los rebeldes.
They rebelled against King Yahuwah,
Ellos se rebelaron en contra del rey Yahuwah.
Korach and his company.
Korach y su
Watch
montón
this.
de personas
Don't miss this. Also
igual
rebelled against Yahuwah.
se rebelaron en contra de Yahuwah.
Not against Moshe,
No en contra de Moshe,
against Yahuwah.
en contra de Yahuwah.
And that's where we fail in our immaturity.
Y es ahí donde fallamos en nuestra inmadurez.
We think we can rebel against Yahuwah's appointed servants.
Pensamos que nos podemos rebelar en contra de los siervos señalados por Yahuwah,
The spirit of Python,
el espíritu de Pitona,
and get away with it.
y escaparnos con él.
That we're still pure
Que seguimos siendo
and
puros
faithful
y leales,
and loyal
leales
to Yahuwah
a Yahuwah.
who sent them.
Quien no-
You
quien
see
nos
how
envió.
great this deception is?
¿Ven lo grande
Hello?
que es esta decepción?
You with me? You see how great this deception is?
¿Ven lo grande que es esta decepción?
So they gathered themselves together
Así que se juntaron
against Moshe and Aaron
en contra de Moshe y Aarón
and said,
y les dijeron,
we're in Bamidbar 16:3.
estamos en Bamidbar 16:3.
Now as we go through these verses, I want you to see, can you pinpoint the spirit of Python?
Y al pasar por estos versos, quiero
Yes.
que ustedes piensen si
I want you to
pueden
be looking
señalar-
for, you know enough about the spirit of Python now to be able to pin it down and to be able to identify it,
Quiero
right?
que
So I
puedan-
want you to pin it down as we go through these verses.
Quiero que
Right?
vayan identificando al espíritu de Pitona a lo largo de estos versos
And you'll see it clearly.
y lo verán claramente.
So they rose up with flattering words.
Se levantaron con palabras halagadoras.
Hey, Moshe, Aaron,
Moshe, Aarón,
you take too much on yourselves.
se toman demasiada
Seeing the
responsabilidad.
whole congregation is kadosh.
Viendo que la congregación entera es kadosh.
Every one of them
Todos ellos
is a teacher.
son maestros.
Every one of them
Todos ellos
can hear from Yahuwah.
pueden oír de Yahweh.
Every one of them
Todos ellos
is an apostle.
son apóstoles.
Every one of them
Todos ellos
can lead.
pueden liderar.
You lift up yourself. You're proud. You're prideful.
Usted se levanta y es orgulloso.
You Moshe Aaron, you lift yourselves up
Ustedes se levantan a sí mismos
above the congregation.
por encima de la congregación.
So what was the accusation?
Así que, ¿cuál era la acusación?
No one has to be a leader.
Nadie tiene que ser un líder.
You guys are on a pride trip,
Ustedes están en
right?
orgullo.
You're taking too much upon yourself.
Están poniendo demasiado sobre sí mismos.
We should be taking turns,
Tenemos que
Teaching.
tomarnos, enseñando,
leading,
liderando,
preaching,
predicando,
healing,
sanando,
praying.
orando.
The Torah has come.
La Torah ha llegado.
Isn't the whole congregation
Que no es que toda
Saved
la congregación es
from
redimida
Egypt?
de Egipto,
Redeemed by the blood?
redimida por la sangre.
You're starting to smell and recognize
Están comenzando a olfatear,
the spirit of
reconocer
Python.
el espíritu
It
de
lacks
Python.
honor, and you don't know what all. You can't give honor if you can't define it.
Le falta estima y no puedes
What is the
dar
definition
estima.
of honor?
Si no la puedes definir, ¿cuál es la definición de la estima?
What is the definition of honor?
¿Cuál es la definición de la estima?
Someone that signs your check,
Alguien que firma tu cheque
and if you don't kiss his tochas,
y si no le besas el tojas,
you don't get paid.
no te pagan.
That's worldly honor.
Esa es estima
The
mundial.
biblical definition of honor
La definición escritural de la estima
goes something like this:
va algo así.
You ain't perfect,
Tú no eres perfecto,
but I recognize
pero yo reconozco
a difference,
una diferencia
and I'm going to serve the
y
difference.
voy a servir la
I'm going to
diferencia.
honor the
Voy
difference.
a estimar la
I'm not going to
diferencia.
worship the
No
difference,
voy a adorar
but
la
I'm going to
diferencia.
serve it, honor it, and come alongside of it.
Lo voy a servir, estimar
Can I get a
y
witness?
unirme a él.
You will honor somebody that you see is different,
Estimarás a alguien a quien ves que es diferente.
chosen, sanctified, and called by heaven.
Escogido, apartado y llamado por los Shammai.
And so Korach took off his covering,
Entonces Korach se quitó su cobertura.
made himself bald,
Se hizo calvo.
gathered other remember, miscontents and malcontents
Acuérdense de las personas que no están contentas.
never like to be alone.
No les gustan estar solos.
They like to be
Les
encouraged
gustan ser animados
in their rebellion
en su rebelión.
because they don't understand the
Porque no
principle
comprenden el principio
of honor.
de la estima.
As we go through this, I want a lot of bells to ring.
Al pasar por
Hello?
esto quiero que
I want a lot of whistles to go off,
suenen
okay?
muchas campanas.
Think of situations that you've just come out of and how to avoid this in the future.
Piensen en situaciones de las que acaban de escapar y
Spirit of
cómo
Python.
evitar esto en el futuro, el espíritu de Pitona.
So the attitude is, you ain't no better than anybody else.
Así que la actitud
Which is
es
true.
que tú no eres mejor que nadie más, lo que es cierto.
That's pride, to think you're better than others.
Ese es orgullo pensar que tú eres mejor que otras
But the fact that I mean,
Pero el hecho queda que
that there are some who went
hay algunos que se fueron
and there are some who were sent.
y algunos que fueron enviados.
And you better be mature enough to recognize the
Y
difference.
más vale que sean
And when you recognize the
suficientes-
difference, you don't honor those who went, you honor those who were sent.
Y más vale que seas lo suficiente maduro para reconocer la diferencia entre aquellos que se levantaron y fueron y aquellos que fueron enviados.
I didn't ask for 100 people to stand up.
Yo no pedí que 100 personas se levantaran.
Apparently their rabbi had taught them the principle of honor.
Aparentemente
I never asked anybody to stand up.
Rabino les
Right?
había enseñado el principio de la estima. Yo nunca le pedí a nadie que se levantara.
But they had learned the principle of honor,
Pero habían aprendido el principio de la estima.
which is the opposite of the spirit of Python.
Lo cual es diferente y lo opuesto al espíritu de Pitona.
Now Moshe, if he was prideful and arrogant, would have immediately taken matters into his own hands.
Moshe, si hubiera sido orgulloso y arrogante, hubiera tomado la situación en sus propias manos.
See, but Moshe Rabbeinu recognized the demon of Python,
Pero Moshe Rabbeinu reconoció el espíritu de Pitona
and he fell on his
y
face.
cayó sobre su rostro.
He prayed. Why?
Oró, ¿por qué?
Because he knew the weapons of our warfare are not carnal,
Porque sabía que las herramientas de nuestra guerra no son
but mighty
carnales,
through Yahuwah
pero poderosas a través de
to the
Yahuwah
pulling down of strongholds
para derrumbar fortalezas
and every thought,
y todo
and
pensamiento
takes it captive
lo toma
to the
cautivo
obedience of Mashiach.
a la obediencia de
2
Mashiach.
Corinthians 10:4.
2 Corintios 10:4,
Ephesians 6,
Efesios 6,
10 through 16.
10 a 16.
Moshe began to battle in the Ruach,
Moshe comenzó a guerrear en la Ruach,
not in the flesh.
no en la carne.
He fell on his face
Cayó sobre su rostro
and he sought Yahuwah.
y buscó a Yahuwah.
5.
5.
And Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to Korach
Y Moshe, nuestro maestro, le habló a Korach
and to all his company,
y a todos sus séquitos,
250 elders
250 ancianos
and others
y otros,
from the tribe of Levi and Reuben,
de la tribu de Leví y de Rubén,
saying, tomorrow Yahuwah will show
diciendo, mañana Yahuwah enseñará
who are his
quiénes son de él
and who is Kadosh.
y quién es Kadosh.
Tomorrow he will cause him to come near to him,
Y hará que se le acerque a él,
even him who he has chosen.
al que él escogiere.
He will cause to come near to him.
Él lo acercará así.
Verse 6.
Verso 6.
Do this.
Hagan esto.
Take censers
Tomen incensarios.
Korach.
Korach
and all your
y
company.
todos sus séquitos.
Verse 7.
Verso 7.
They put fire in the censers,
Y pongan fuego en ellos.
and they put incense
Y pongan en ellos incienso.
in the censers before Yahuwah tomorrow.
Delante de Yahuwah mañana.
And it shall be,
Y el varón,
the man whom Yahuwah chooses
a quien Yahuwah escogiere,
shall be set apart.
aquel varón será Kadosh.
You take too much upon you,
Tú tomas demasiado sobre ti.
you sons of Levi.
Ustedes hijos de
So
Leví.
what was the accusation?
Así que, ¿cuál era la acusación?
Moshe and Aharon,
Y que Moshe y Aarón,
you're not called.
ustedes no son llamados.
We're all called.
Todos somos
You
llamados.
lift yourself up.
Ustedes se levantan.
You think you're better than us.
Piensan que son mejores que
You
nosotros.
take up too much authority.
Asuman demasiada autoridad.
You swallow authority. You love authority. You're on a pride trip.
Están en una jornada de orgullo.
Then Moshe turns it right around
Y Moshe voltea y les contesta.
and he says to Korah,
Y les dice a Korach,
no, my friend,
no amigo,
it is you
ustedes son
who are rebelling,
los que se están
setting
rebelando,
up a government
estableciendo un gobierno
of one.
de uno.
You are setting yourself up
Ustedes se están preparando,
on your own island
poniéndose sobre su propia isla.
with those foolish enough to join your island.
Con aquellos lo suficientemente torpes para unirse a
Because
su
when
isla.
you say that Moshe prides himself
Porque cuando ustedes dicen que Moshe se enorgullece
and takes up too much authority,
y que asume demasiada
then
autoridad,
turn around and make yourself bald,
y luego voltean
you
y
throw off your covering.
quitan su cobertura.
When you were under Yahuwah's covering, you were safe and
Cuando
sound.
estaban bajo la cobertura de Yahweh,
You were wealthy and healthy.
ricos y sanos.
You were brand new and going through.
Nuevecitos y pasando.
Your marriage was being fixed.
Sus convenios estaban siendo
Your
arreglados.
children were learning how to talk to you.
Sus hijos aprendiendo cómo hablarle.
Your family was coming together.
Su familia uniéndose.
The divisions of generations were being healed.
Las divisiones de generaciones estaban siendo sanadas.
But you forgot
Pero se les olvidó.
that Yahuwah used Moshe and
Y
Aharon
Yahweh usó a Moshe y a
to
Aarón
bring you the good news.
Para traerles las alegres nuevas.
And the mentorship.
Y el mentorear.
And the discipleship.
Y el entrenamiento.
Of his lamb.
De su cordero.
Last time I checked,
La última vez que yo chequeé,
Moshe and Aaron taught you how to put the blood of the lamb on the doorposts of your house.
Les enseñó cómo poner la sangre, la dam del
It was
cordero
Moshe and Aaron.
sobre los dinteles de su casa. Fue Moshe y Aarón.
Now all of a sudden,
Y de repente
you're accusing them.
están acusándoles,
You're making yourself bald.
haciéndose calvos.
When we as believers make ourselves bald, we've bitten into
Cuando nosotros como creyentes nos descubrimos, destapamos la cabeza, hemos mordido
and we come against his leaders.
y venimos en contra de sus líderes.
We are embracing the spirit
Estamos abrazando al espíritu
of Python.
de Pitona.
What was motivating them?
¿Qué les estaba motivando?
To choke,
De
to
ahorcar,
constrict,
de constringir,
to rebel,
de rebelarse,
and to dishonor
desestimar
the ones who taught them
a los que les
how to be redeemed
cómo ser redimidos,
and how to escape Egypt
cómo escaparse de Egipto,
and how to be built up in the most kadosh emunah.
cómo
Somebody,
edificarse en la emuná.
can I get a witness? They were the best things since matzah.
Eran lo mejor desde Matzah.
And now all of a sudden they're arrogant, prideful.
Y de repente son arrogantes, orgullosos.
We didn't come out of Egypt for you,
No nos escapamos de Egipto por ustedes,
Moshe and Aharon.
Moshe y Aarón.
But we can lead,
Pero nosotros podemos
we can
liderar,
teach,
podemos enseñar,
we can do these things that you're
podemos
doing.
hacer estas cosas que ustedes están haciendo.
And so they accused Moshe of taking on too much
Y
authority.
entonces acusaron a Moshe de asumir demasiada autoridad.
So look what Moshe does.
Así que ven lo que hace
He
Moshe.
says, no, sons
Dice, no hijos
of Levi.
de Leví.
You're the ones
Ustedes son
who are overstepping
los que están sobrepasando
your boundary.
sus límites.
You are the ones.
Ustedes son.
And I'm going to pray in the
Y
Ruach.
voy a orar en la
2
Ruach.
Corinthians 10:4, Ephesians chapter 6.
Segunda de Corintios 10:4 y Efesios 6:10.
Because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yah, to the pulling down of strongholds, against everything that exalts itself and lifts itself up, against the honor and the revealed divine government of Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Porque nuestras herramientas son espirituales.
I'm going to pull it down on my knees.
Y voy a
I'm going to pull it down
Lo voy a derrumbar
on my knees.
en mis rodillas.
Verse 9.
Verso 9.
I ask you, sons of Levi.
Les pregunto, hijos de Leví.
Verse 8.
Verso 8.
Is it a small thing
¿Es cosa pequeña
that the Elohim of Israel has made you kadosh
que el Elohim de Israel los ha hecho kadosh
as the servants of the tabernacle?
como siervos de la casa?
The Leviim.
Los Leviim.
You are kadosh
Ustedes son kadosh.
if you stay in your lane.
Si se mantienen en su línea.
If you get out of your lane and you want someone else's lane, you are not kadosh, you are bald.
Si se van de
And
su
you could be a
línea,
woman and be bald also.
Si se van de su línea y se meten en la línea de alguien más, se hacen calvos.
You started out good.
Calva también. Y comienzas de manera
Who has
provechosa.
bewitched you
¿Quién los ha embrujado?
that you should not obey
Para no
the
obedecer
word and the leaders who took you out of Egypt
la palabra y a los líderes quienes los sacaron de Egipto
and taught you about the blood of the
y
Lamb
les enseñaron de la dam del
and
cordero
how to moed on Pesach
y cómo hacer
and
las
how to
citas
count
de
the
la
omer.
Pascua y cómo contar el omer
and how to wave the lulav and the
y
etrog
cómo mecer el lulav y etrog
on Sukkot.
en Sukkot.
You forgot about that.
Se les olvidó acerca de eso.
You exchanged, you had authority
Ustedes tenían
when you were
autoridad
under authority.
cuando estaban bajo la autoridad.
Look at verse 9.
Ven el verso 9.
You guys are blind.
Están ciegos.
You guys were leaders
Ustedes eran líderes
in Israel.
en Israel.
When?
¿Cuándo?
Then.
Entonces.
Then.
En ese
When?
entonces, ¿cuándo?
When were Korach and his Levitical band leaders in Israel?
Cuando eran Korach y su
When?
banda levítica líderes
Then,
en Israel. En
when?
ese entonces. ¿Cuándo?
Then,
¿Cuándo?
when they stayed in their authority.
Cuando se mantenían en su autoridad.
Brother Amos, it's not that I don't want you to have authority.
Aquí vamos, no es que no quiera que usted tenga autoridad.
I want you to have authority.
Yo quiero que usted tenga autoridad.
But the authority Yahweh has given you.
Pero la autoridad que Yahweh le ha
Not
dado,
taking somebody else's
no
authority.
asumir la autoridad de alguien más.
Sophia, I want you to have authority.
Sofía, yo quiero que usted tenga autoridad.
You have authority in many ways,
Usted tiene autoridad de muchas
including
maneras,
worship.
incluyendo en la adoración.
Right? You have authority,
Usted tiene autoridad,
but not in somebody else's lane.
pero no en la línea de alguien más.
That's how you make yourself bald,
Es así como te haces
unproductive.
calvo, no productivo.
In the name of Yahusha.
En el nombre de Yahushua.
You make yourself unproductive.
Se hacen improductivos.
By putting on yourself something that you don't have the authority to do.
Al poner sobre sí mismos algo que no tienen la autoridad para hacer.
If Moshe and Aaron needed correction, who was going to correct them? And they did. They sure did.
Y Aarón necesitaban
Right? They sure did.
¿Quién los iba a corregir?
Who was going to correct them?
¿Quién los iba a corregir?
A party of three.
Un partido de tres.
The Father,
El Abba,
the Son,
el Hijo
and the Ruach.
y la Ruach.
It's not up
No está arriba.
to those who have been given a measure of
No
authority
está a disposición de aquellos a quien se les
to
ha
come
dado
into an assembly or the camp
de entrar en una asamblea o al campo
and to start claiming
y
authority
comenzar a reclamar
that is not
autoridad
theirs.
que no es de ellos.
So don't misunderstand me.
Así que no me
The
malentiendan.
spirit of Python
El espíritu de Pitona
wants authority
quiere autoridad,
at the same
a la
time
misma vez
destroying
destruyendo
and choking
y ahogando
the authority
la autoridad
that is not there.
que no es de ellos.
Yahuwah said in the Torah,
Yahuwah dijo en Torah,
you shall not
no
covet. What does it mean to
codiciar.
covet?
¿Qué quiere decir
To
codiciar?
desire something
De anhelar algo
or
o
someone
a alguien
that is not yours by
que
covenant.
no es tuyo por convenio.
To desire
De
someone
anhelar a alguien
or
o
something
a algo
that is not
que
yours
no es tuyo
by
por
covenant.
convenio.
Can I get a witness?
Amén.
Thou shalt not covet.
No codiciarás.
To think that you could make decisions
El pensar que puedes hacer decisiones
and that your wisdom and experience is equal to someone who's been laboring at this, as an overseer of Yahuwah for 50 years is the height and definition of pride and arrogance. You have made yourself bald. He didn't do it to you. The leaders didn't do it to you. You did it to yourself.
El pensar que puedes asumir autoridad que no has tenido tú, de alguien que ha estado trabajando y sirviendo a Yahuwah por 50 años, es que nadie te lo hizo a ti, tú te lo hiciste a ti mismo, tú fuiste en anhelación de algo que no era tuyo.
What were their roles? They were leaders. They were elders.
¿Cuáles eran sus cargos? Ellos eran líderes, eran ancianos,
They were Levites.
eran levitas,
They were kadosh
eran kadosh,
to do the service of the tabernacle,
para hacer el servicio de la casa de
to
Yahuwah,
stand before the kehillah,
para estar delante de la
to
congregación,
serve the kehillah.
para servir a la
You want
congregación.
authority?
¿Quieres autoridad?
Serve the kehillah.
Sirve a la kehillah.
Don't backbite,
No
question,
mueras, no dudes,
belittle,
no
and
menosprecies,
nitpick every little thing that the leaders sent from heaven are doing. Stop it.
y no critiques toda cosita pequeña que el líder enviado de los Shamaim está haciendo.
Serve the tabernacle.
Sirve a la casa,
Serve the people
sírvele al pueblo
with the gifts that he's given you.
con los dones
Right?
que él te ha
We
dado.
learned that in Torah
Lo
study.
aprendimos en la escudriñación de Torah.
Ephesians chapter 4.
Efesios capítulo 4.
Every member
Todo miembro
supplies their
suple
gifts
sus dones
to the tabernacle,
a la casa de Yahuwah,
to the kehillah,
a la kehillah,
to
congregación,
the people.
al pueblo.
And we are members one of
Y
another.
somos miembros el uno del
Right?
otro.
We learned that in Torah
Eso
study.
lo aprendimos en nuestro escudriñar de Torah.
When you came to this community, friend,
Cuando llegaste a esta
you didn't
comunidad,
sign up for an organization, Sears Roebuck,
no te registraste para una
Montgomery
organización.
Ward. Amway International.
Amway, Sears.
We're not members of an
No
organization.
somos miembros de una organización.
Well, like we learned in Torah study.
Como aprendimos en el escudriñar
We
de
serve the
Torah.
tabernacle.
Servimos a la casa.
We are servants of the tabernacle
Somos siervos de la casa.
with the gifts he's given
Con los
us.
dones que él nos
So
ha
I'm
dado.
now a member, since we're mishpacha,
Así que hoy yo soy miembro, ya que somos familia.
I'm a member
Yo soy miembro
of JR's family.
de la familia de
He's
Chile.
a member of my
Él es
family.
miembro de mi familia.
We are members one of another.
Somos miembros el uno
What a
del otro.
radical concept from the
Qué
world.
concepto tan radical.
We are members of each other's life. What does that mean? I don't know. You figure it out.
El uno del
That's
otro.
what's in the Word.
En la vida del uno del otro. Y eso es lo que está en la palabra.
We are members
Somos miembros
of one another.
el uno del otro.
There's no organization.
No hay organización.
There's no Wall Street hierarchy.
No hay jerarquía de Wall Street.
Okay. There's no K Street advertising agency that we join.
No hay una agencia de mercadería a la que nos unimos.
We're servants in the tabernacle.
Somos siervos en la casa de
Do
Dios.
I have more authority than some of you? Yeah.
Tengo yo más autoridad
You know why?
que algunos de
You want to hear the
ustedes.
truth?
Quieren oír la
without me hurting your feelings.
sin que yo le
I've been more faithful for a longer period of time than most of you. When you've been faithful for 20 years, 30 years, and you overcome every trial and tribulation, you'll be sitting right here. This is where you'll be sitting. I wasn't always like that. Because I used to laugh at the principle of honor. It disturbed me. Why should I give people honor? You know, ticky shirty. No ticky, no shirty. You don't wash my hand, I'm not going to wash yours. That's phileo love. We're called to be members one of another. In agape love. Meaning I'm hurting, I'm brutalized, life is doing a number on me, but I'm going to lose my pain and get involved in your life and try to rescue your children and your grandchildren so they come back to you. I'm going to get involved in and you get involved in mine. That's what that means, community, common unity.
Pero me voy a involucrar en tu vida, en la vida de tus hijos, tus nietos, para que todos vengan a la congregación. Esa es la comunidad.
Every baseball team has a manager.
Todo equipo de béisbol tiene un manager.
Every football team has a head coach.
Todo equipo de fútbol tiene su entrenador.
When the linebacker coach and the quarterback coach declare themselves in charge and to get rid of the head coach, where does that team finish? Dead last.
Cuando los entrenadores menores quieren suplantar al entrenador mayor, acaban al final.
Nice guys don't finish last. Leo DeRocher was wrong. Divided guys finish last.
Los muchachos amables no acaban al último, son los que están divididos.
Verse 10.
Verso 10.
And he brought you near to him.
Y te hizo acercar a
Moshe is talking to Korach.
Moshe está hablándole a Korach.
And all your brothers
y a todos tus ajim,
who minister with turbans.
Que ministran con turbantes.
The sons of Levi wore turbans.
Los hijos de Leví usaban turbantes.
In the service of the tabernacle.
En el servicio de la casa de Yahuwah.
Yahuwah called you.
Yahuwah les llamó.
You see what I'm saying?
¿Ven lo que estoy diciendo?
I'm not doubting that the leaders don't doubt that you're called.
Los líderes no dudan que ustedes han sido llamados.
But we just read in 1 Timothy 3, someone should not teach and preach and do some of the key things.
Pero hemos acabado de leer en 1 Timoteo 3 que la gente no debe enseñar, liderar y hacer cosas claves.
If they're a novice.
Si son novatos.
Remember we read that earlier today?
¿Recuerdan que leímos eso?
What's going to happen to a novice that takes authority on himself that he's not ready to handle? What happens to that novice?
¿Qué va a pasar con un
they hide. They go into rebellion.
Autoridad que no están preparados y equipados
they
para
find other malcontents.
Se esconden.
And they start meeting in their camp. Whoa! Stop talking about these people, Moshe. I'm not talking about anybody. I know how the devil operates.
No hablo de nadie.
They're not going to be alone for long.
No van a estar solos por largo
People that are in rebellion don't stay alone for long.
La gente que está en rebelión no va a estar sola por mucho tiempo.
They find new tents.
Encuentran otras tiendas nuevas.
To come together.
Para reunirlas.
Mm-hmm. Y'all can get quiet on me if you want. He says Yahuwah has given you authority.
Dice Yahuwah te ha dado autoridad.
To serve your brethren.
Para servir a tus fraternos.
And now you want to approach the altar?
Y hoy quieres acercarte al altar.
Where did the Kohanim serve?
¿En dónde servían los Kohanim?
At the altar.
En el altar.
The bima. You want to be in the bima? You want to approach the altar?
¿Quieren estar en el bima, en el altar?
You want to be the sons of Kohath?
¿Quieren ser los hijos de Kohath?
It's not good enough to be a servant?
No es suficiente ser un siervo.
And to wait your turn?
Y esperar su turno.
Pay your price?
Pagar su precio.
Get built up in your faith?
Ser edificado en su fe.
Have your faith tested?
Tener que su fe sea probada.
By rejection?
A través del rechazo.
Abandonment?
El abandono.
Difficulties?
Las dificultades.
Wait to be tested.
Espérense ser probados.
And now you want the priesthood.
Y quieren el ministerio.
The sons of Reuben had no business.
Los hijos de Reuben no tenían asunto.
Because they were not sons of Kohath.
Porque no eran hijos de Kohath.
Can I get a witness? And the rest of the Levites
y el resto de los levitas
were sons of Gershom and Merari.
Eran hijos de Gershom y Merari.
They were not sons of Kohath.
No eran hijos de Kohath.
Like Korach.
Como Korach.
They all wanted to be part of the the priesthood at the altar.
Y todos querían ser parte del ministerio en el altar.
Because you want authority,
Por cuanto quieren autoridad.
you're hungry, you're jealous.
Tienen hambre, tienen celos.
How many know people are jealous of those who have authority?
¿Cuántos saben que la gente tiene codicia de
And
aquellos
jealousy
que
leads to
están
hatred.
en la autoridad? Y la codicia conduce
Why am I
al odio.
rich? Why don't I have money? Why hasn't he blessed me? Why do I have to live in a milk carton? That jealousy, if it's not checked by the Ruach, leads to hatred.
Esa codicia conduce al odio.
Can I get a witness?
Amen.
You got to check that jealousy and get on your knees.
Tienes que chequear esa codicia, esos celos y ponerte en tus rodillas.
Can lead to hatred,
Puede conducir al odio,
which can lead to murder
lo que puede conducir al asesinato
in your heart.
en tu corazón.
And then in
Y
reality,
luego en la realidad.
nobody kills another man
Nadie mata a ninguna otra
without
persona
first becoming a murderer in their heart.
sin primero convertirse en un
Hello?
asesino en su corazón.
First you become a murderer in your heart.
Primero te haces un asesino en tu corazón.
Yahuwah has brought you near.
Yahuwah te ha acercado,
He's made you kadosh.
te ha hecho kadosh,
He will raise you up.
te levantará.
Humble yourself under the mighty hand of Yahuwah, and He will lift you up in due season,
Humíllate
somebody.
bajo la mano poderosa de Yahuwah y te exaltará en el tiempo debido.
Pride goes before a fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. Or pride, a haughty spirit goes before pride goes a haughty spirit. It's actually the other way around, but I'm going to quote it the way everybody else does. Pride goes before a fall, and a haughty spirit is actually the other way around. Go ahead.
El orgullo va adelante de una caída y un espíritu arrogante.
And now you're seeking
Y estás buscando
to wait at the altar,
esperar allí en el altar
to be in the rotation
para estar en la rotación
of the Kohanim,
de los Kohanim,
for which cause you and your company
por causa de la cual ustedes y tú y tu séquito
are gathered together in the spirit of Python. You have bound yourself in the spirit of Python to destroy me and my brother,
se han
Aharón.
ustedes unido en el espíritu de Pitona para destruirme a mí y a mi ají Aharón.
Why is Aaron an issue with you? Verse 11.
Porque es un problema con ustedes Aharón, verso 11.
Why is he the issue?
Porque él es porque es el
I thought I was the issue.
Yo pensé que yo era
Because
el problema.
Python knows that I've got to destroy both brothers so that I can take over as I make myself bald.
Pitona sabe que tiene que destruir a ambos fraternos al yo tomar control y hacerme.
Are you with me?
Amen.
Justin, Yahweh doesn't make you bald.
Justin, Yahweh no te hace
You have
caso.
authority.
Tú tienes autoridad.
But just stay in that lane.
Pero quédate en esa línea.
And if you're faithful in that lane, he'll give you a wider
Y
lane
si eres leal en esa línea, te dará una línea de agua.
and a bigger lane
Y una línea mayor.
and a more important
Y
lane.
una línea más importante.
But when a novice is lifted up with pride, he wants everything. He wants to be in on the decisions. He wants to be in on the deliverance. He wants to be in on the prayer. He wants his foot in everything.
Pero cuando un novato quiere,
Oh, hallelujah now, y'all.
autoridad, quiere estar involucrado en todo.
Are we going? Are we on?
Amen.
We're going.
on.
We're gone. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. So the spirit of Python wants to eliminate
Así que el espíritu de Pitona
any
quiere
leadership.
eliminar
It's not just Moshe Rabbeinu.
a cualquier liderazgo, no solamente a Moshe nuestro
It's
maestro,
Aharon, the first Kohen
sino que
Hagadol.
a Aarón, al primer Cohen Hagadol.
If Python can get rid of the prophet,
Si Pitona se puede deshacer del profeta,
my novice mind and opinion can rule you.
mi mente novata y opinión te
And
puede
teach you.
gobernar y enseñar.
But Python says,
Pero Pitona dice,
I only want to get rid of the
no
prophet
solamente me quiero deshacer del profeta
to teach and declare.
para enseñar y declarar,
I want to get rid of the means
quiero deshacerme de la manera
of
del
forgiveness.
perdón.
I'm going to take out the high priest,
Quiero quitar
listen,
al sumo ministro
notice, who presides over the pardon.
que preside por encima del perdón.
This is not a snake.
Esta no es una víbora.
This is not a little dragone
Esta no es un dragón pequeño.
or a dragonfly.
No es una mosquita.
This is Python.
Esta es Pitona.
Python comes to close places of worship
Pitona
down completely.
se acerca para cerrar lugares
Are you
de
with me?
adoración
To close it down
completamente.
completely.
Para cerrarlo completamente.
And to remove the very means of
Y
atonement.
para quitar la manera de la expiación.
No Aaron,
Sin Aarón.
no high priest.
Sin sumo ministro.
No high priest,
Sin sumo ministro
no forgiveness.
no hay perdón.
No high priest.
Sin sumo ministro.
No Yom Kippur.
No hay Yom Kippur.
The only day all of Israel could be forgiven.
El único Yom que todo Israel pudo haber sido perdonado.
For intentional sin.
Por pecado intencional.
Every day there were offerings.
Todo Yom habían ofrendas.
Grain, wine, benny hen. There were all kind of offerings.
Vinos, todo tipo de ofrendas.
On a daily basis. And a hen and a benny
regular.
hen and a sammy hen. They were all diverse, various ordinances.
Habían todo tipo de ordenanzas.
For unintentional sin.
Por pecados no intencionales.
Pero,
But,
if you planned your sin
si tú planificaste tu pecado
intentionally,
intencionalmente,
you better not die before Yom
más
Kippur.
vale que no mueras antes de Yom
Because Yom
Kippur.
Kippur was the only day
Porque Yom Kippurim era el único
when your
Yom
planned sin
cuando tu pecado planificado
can be forgiven.
podía haber sido perdonado.
So Python says,
Así que Pitona dice,
every intentional sin is
Todo
going to send you
pecado.
to the pit.
intencional te va a enviar al abismo.
In this coup d'etat,
En este coup d'état,
I'm going to get rid of Moshe,
voy a deshacer de
the
Moshe,
prophet and
el
teacher,
profeta y maestro,
and his brother
y a Ruach,
in one shot.
de un solo golpe.
Do you understand what Python is?
¿Entienden lo que es
It's
Pitona?
designed to shut down divine government so you wind up honoring yourself, listen, or you wind up honoring a novice that thinks they should be involved in every aspect of the ministry when they haven't even been walking in Torah for 2 or 3 months.
Está diseñado para cerrar el ministerio y ponerse a sí mismo en la autoridad
Hello?
cuando ni siquiera han caminado en Torah por ni 2 meses.
Now, I love Chris
Yo amo a Chris
Williams. I'm like an Abba, right? He told me I was a spiritual
Yo soy
Abba.
como un Abba para
Am
él.
I right? Or am I fibbing? I'm like a spiritual Abba to him,
Soy como un Abba espiritual para él.
right? I've been told that by both of you.
Se me dijo por
But
ustedes.
if I ask Chris to come over here
Pero si le pido a Chris que venga aquí,
and to sit here and
que
lead the
se siente
services,
aquí
what would
y
happen?
lidere los servicios, ¿qué va a pasar?
It would be apparent
Será
that he's not in his lane.
aparente que no está en su línea.
So in other words, he's making himself bald.
Así que en otras palabras, se está haciendo calvo.
Yahweh doesn't want anybody to be bald.
Yahweh no quiere que nadie sea calvo.
Spiritually, nobody needs to be bald except those that are in rebellion.
Espiritualmente nadie necesita ser calvo más que aquellos
Everybody
que están en
has
rebelión.
authority,
Todo el mundo tiene autoridad.
right?
¿Sí?
For instance, if I walk into Sophia's kitchen
Por ejemplo, si
and
me
I
meto-
start cooking and cleaning, I'm stepping on her authority.
Si me meto en la cocina de Sofía y
Right?
me pongo a cocinar
Am I right,
y
Sophia?
limpiar, estoy metiéndome en su autoridad.
In your kitchen,
En su cocina.
that is your authority.
Esa es su autoridad.
I just can't come in there and start meatloaf here, barley here.
No puedo entrar a dar
Right?
órdenes.
I'm out of order.
Estoy fuera de orden.
That's what we do in the Ruach.
Es lo que hacemos en la Ruach.
We lust and hunger after somebody else's authority.
Tenemos hambre y codicia tras la autoridad de
Because
alguien.
we've been hurt and wounded so many times that we think if we're not involved with anything, he's ignoring us. If we're not involved with everything, he must be shunning us. No, friends, we're not Scientology. We don't believe in shunning people. You have made yourself bald.
Si no estamos involucrados, dicen ellos, es que nos están ignorando.
No one needs to be bald.
Nos están excluyendo, pero no, amigos, nadie necesita ser calvo.
So Python is not playing.
Así que Pitona no está
Python
jugando.
mocks,
Pitona se burla,
ridicules,
se burla,
doubts,
duda,
dishonors,
desestima
and chokes
y ahorca
the Moshes and the Aharon.
a los Moshes y a Aarón.
And what does Hebrews say about Moshe and Aharon?
¿Y qué dice Hebreos de Moshe y Aarón?
Part of every spiritual leader's job is to one day stand before Yahuwah
Parte de todo de todo líder espiritual es en algún yom levantarse delante de Yahweh
and to give a good report.
y dar un reporte
Right?
todo.
A plus
A más
for JR.
para J.
A plus for
A
Tovia.
más para Tobia.
A plus.
A más.
They started out as babies with a D.
Comenzaron como bebé con una D.
They do everything they've been asked to do.
Han hecho todo lo que se les ha
They're
dicho
ready to
hacer.
teach.
Y están listos para enseñar.
They're ready to prophesy.
Listos para profetizar.
That's the goal.
Esa es la meta.
If we stay with the plan.
Si nos mantenemos con el plan.
But we can't be walking and lusting and desiring to be part of
No
everything.
podemos estar caminando y anhelando ser partícipes de todo.
And we've got to know where our authority
Y
is.
tenemos que saber dónde se halla nuestra autoridad.
The authority of Korach was not at the altar.
La autoridad de Korach no estaba en el altar.
It was not in prophecy.
No era en la profecía.
It was to be a faithful soldier
Era para ser un soldado leal
among the sons of Levi,
entre los hijos de Leví.
meaning serve the people.
Hablando de servir al pueblo.
As you're given orders.
Al dársele las órdenes.
Serve the people.
Sírvale al pueblo.
Carry out your orders.
Ejerce sus órdenes.
Learn their principle of honor.
Entiendan el principio del estímulo.
Satan's government is extremely
El
organized.
gobierno de Satanás es extremadamente
Principalities,
organizado.
powers,
Principalidades, poderes,
municipalities,
municipalidades,
demons over cities and villages and hamlets.
sobre ciudades, aldeas, lugares más
And
pequeños.
because we find boldness in the spirit appealing
Y por cuanto
because
encontramos
of pride and
la
arrogance,
calvicie en el espíritu que es muy codiciado, hay un espíritu
we
de arrogancia.
want Yahuwah's government
Queremos que el gobierno de Yahweh
to function in the loosey-goosey.
funcione así libremente,
Loosey-goosey.
relajadamente.
You can teach,
Tú puedes
I can
enseñar,
teach,
yo puedo enseñar,
you can prophesy,
tú puedes profetizar,
whatever you feel like doing.
lo que te sientas a hacer.
Be careful of two kinds of people.
Cuidado de dos tipos de personas.
Listen to what I'm saying to you.
Esto es lo que les digo.
The Ruach told me,
La Ruach me dijo.
and then the Ruach told
Y
me,
la Ruach me dijo.
and then the Ruach
Y
told me.
la Ruach me dijo.
49 times every day the Ruach is telling you something.
49 veces
Run
al
from those people
La Ruach
like
te
you'd
está
run from a
diciendo,
rattlesnake.
huye de
That
esas
is religious
personas,
manipulation.
porque esa es manipulación religiosa.
Nobody, the Ruach doesn't talk to anybody 49 times a day. You can't handle it. You die on the operating table. It's too much revelation for a mere mortal man to receive in one business day.
La Ruach no puede hablarle tanto a una sola persona. Es demasiada revelación para una sola persona en un solo yom típico.
Our patriarchs
Nuestros ancestros
would receive a dream
recibían un sueño
or a vision,
o una
or
visión.
they would see Yahusha on the top of Yaakov's Salem.
O veían a Yahusha en la cima de la
The word for
escalera.
ladder is Salem,
Shalem.
which is shalom,
Que es Shalom.
peace between heaven and earth.
La tranquilidad entre
Through
los hombres y la
Mashiach.
tierra, entre
1
Mashiach.
Timothy
1 Timoteo
2:15.
2:15.
There is one mediator
Hay un
between
mediador
Yah and man,
entre
the
Yahweh y
man
hombre,
from heaven,
el varón de los
Moshiach
cielos,
Yahusha.
Yahusha Mashiach.
So they go their whole life
Así que pasan su vida
With a
entera
dream.
con un sueño,
with a word,
con una palabra,
with a vision of Moshiach.
con una visión de Mashiach.
We got guys in Broward County,
Tenemos personas en el condado
and
de
we got
Broward
and we got guys in Sweet Home,
y
Alabama,
personas en Alabama
and we have guys at the casinos in
y
Mississippi.
personas en los casinos en Mississippi.
They're hearing from God 49 times a
Están
day.
oyendo de Dios 49
Yeah, you're hearing from
veces
God, all right.
al yom. Sí, estás oyendo
You better
de
check
Dios.
to make sure it's not Toad,
Más vale que
or that it's not a Geico commercial playing in your head.
cheques que no es Tor o un comercial de Geico.
You could save 15% on car insurance. 49 times a day, 15%, 15%, 50%. Everybody knows that, 15%. All right? That's sweetheart, that's not the Ruach HaKodesh. That's a Geico commercial.
Ese es un comercial de Geico.
You got to turn to yourself and cast out the demons of the Geicos.
Tienes que echar fuera los demonios de los Geicos.
You got Geicos in your head.
Tienes Geicos en la cabeza.
We got to pray, Yahuwah, please.
Tenemos que orar, Yahweh, por
I
favor.
don't want to think I'm hearing from the Ruach when just a bunch of Geicos running
No quiero
around.
pensar que estoy oyendo de la Ruach cuando son un montón de reptiles corriendo alrededor.
Or as we say in Latin, geekos.
Geicos.
Cheese doodles. Something's up there. It ain't the Ruach.
Algo está ahí, no es la Ruach.
Something's messing with your head.
Algo está maltratando tu cabeza.
I mean, come on. Run from those people.
Huyan de esas personas.
Oh, you're greater than Abraham,
O eres mayor que
who
Abraham.
heard from Yahuwah 5 times in his life.
Que oyó de Yahweh 5 veces en su vida.
They were such unusual events that they've been recorded.
Eran eventos
If they happened 49 times a day, they wouldn't be recorded.
inusuales que tenían que ser grabados.
The Torah says,
Torah dice,
but you're beating your husband.
pero
You're
estás
kicking him in the
maltratando a
groin.
tu marido.
You never listen to
Estás
him.
golpeando.
You're
Nunca
always
escuchas.
fighting with him.
Siempre estás
It
peleando.
don't
con
matter
él.
what the Torah
No
says,
importa lo que dice Torah,
because you're not applying it.
que no lo estás aplicando.
If you were living by the Torah, you would be
Si
studying
estuvieras viviendo por la Torah,
how the Torah
estuvieras escudriñando
makes you more gentle,
cómo es que la Torah te hace más gentil,
less likely to blow up,
menos de explotar, capaz de explotar,
more understanding.
más entendido.
If you're not using the Torah to learn to love people, you're probably using it unlawfully.
Si no estás usando la Torah para aprender cómo amar a la gente, quizás la estás usando ilegalmente.
Probably using it
Quizás la estás usando
unlawfully.
ilegalmente.
Moshe said to Datan and Aviram, the sons of Reuben,
Moshe le dijo a Datán y a Abiram, a los hijos
what's
de Rubén,
the tribal characteristic of Reuben?
¿qué es el tipo característica
Bad
típica
temper.
de Rubén? Un temperamento malo.
I know. Can we talk?
Podemos
There's nobody
conversar?
here, right?
No hay
Two
nadie
folks.
aquí.
Nobody's listening?
Nadie está escuchando.
Can we talk?
Podemos conversar.
When someone says to me, you know,
Cuando alguien me dice, ¿sabes?
if I was my old way, if I was my old self,
Si yo fuera el yo de antes,
I'd pop that person.
yo le golpearía
They
a
wouldn't
esa
be
persona.
doing well
No
right
estarían
now.
haciendo
They
todo.
wouldn't be talking right
No
now.
estarían hablando en este.
It's a good thing I'm not who I used to be.
Es una cosa todo que no soy el que yo antes era.
When I hear that,
Cuando escucho eso,
I know I'm talking to
yo sé que estoy
a
hablando
carnal believer.
con un creyente carnal.
Because that should have no place
Porque eso no debe tener lugar
in our thinking.
en nuestro pensamiento.
Vengeance is mine,
La venganza es mía,
says Yahuwah.
dice Yahuwah.
I will repay.
Yo pagaré.
So Reuben has a tribal characteristic of what?
Así que Rubén tiene la característica tribal de que
Anger,
del enojo,
instability,
instabilidad,
like water.
como el agua.
They're unstable.
Son inestables.
So we read that in Reuben. He was called unstable because he had no sexual self-control.
Así que leemos de eso de Rubén porque no tenía autocontrol en su vida sexual.
He violated his father's bed.
Violó la cama de su aba.
Unstable as water.
Inestable como el agua.
So we have the unstable
Así que tenemos a los inestables
joining the wannabe priests
uniéndose con el que quiere ser Cohen
to destroy divine
para
government,
destruir el gobierno de Yahuwah.
and the leaders,
Y los líderes
my word, had their hands full.
tenían las manos llenas.
This was a takeover.
Este era un asumir.
Can we talk? We've been talking, right? How many times did Yahuwah show Israel that he was with Moshe and Aaron? 100? 500? How many times?
¿Cuántas veces le enseñó Yahuwah a Israel que él estaba con Moshe
Right?
y Aarón?
Snakes eating other snakes.
Serpientes comiéndose otras serpientes.
Lice.
Los piojos.
Dam.
Dam.
Sfardeya.
Sfartea.
Kinim.
Kinim.
Aro.
Aro.
Dever. The Eser Hamakot.
Las 10 plagas.
And then the splitting of the Yamsuf.
Y luego el dividir del mar.
The Sea of Reeds.
El mar de las cañas.
And they still didn't get
Y
it.
de todos modos
This
no
is the
comprendían.
dude that we can rebel against.
Este es el hombre con el que en contra del cual nos podemos rebelar.
Blindness to honor.
La ceguera a la
A
estima.
demon called Python.
Un demonio llamado Pitón.
Keep gossiping. Keep slandering.
Sigue chismeando.
Keep
hablando
running your
mal,
leaders down
derrumbando a tus líderes.
until they move to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and then you can take over. And not only you can take over, you can lead every ministry.
Hasta que se vaya
Deliverance, prayer, marriage counseling. You can do it all.
asumir todo.
Says
Toda
the spirit
responsabilidad. Dice el
of
espíritu
Python.
de Pitona.
What the spirit of Python doesn't tell you
Pero el espíritu de Pitona no te dice.
is that if you take Aaron out,
Es que si sacas a Aarón,
you have no high priest.
no tienes sumo ministro.
If you take out Yahuwah's
Si
leaders,
quitas a los líderes de Yahuwah,
you have no high
no
priest.
tienes sumo ministro.
What are you talking about?
¿De qué habla?
I thought Jesus was the high priest.
Pensé que Jesús era el sumo
Well,
ministro.
that's what you thought.
Eso es lo que pensabas.
But your
Pero
Jesus
tu Jesús
will not function
no funcionará
as the high
como el
priest
sumo ministro
when you've destroyed
cuando tú hayas destruido
his prime minister,
a su
his defense
sumo
minister,
ministro, a su ministro de defensa
and his minister of war,
y a su ministro de guerra,
and his minister of
a su
deliverance.
ministro de desencadenación.
You have no high priest.
No tiene sumo ministro.
He will not honor
Él no estimará
that rebellion.
a esa rebelión.
He will not honor it.
No la estimará.
You see how Python works?
¿Ven cómo funciona Pitón?
Oh, don't worry. If we get rid of
No te
Amos
preocupes, si nos
and
deshacemos de
Benjamin
Benjamín
and
y de
Rebbitzin,
la rabina
and we set up our own
y
camp,
establecemos nuestro propio campamento,
Jesus is with us.
Jesús estará con nosotros.
Because, where 2 or 3 are gathered, he's with us.
Estén reunidos, Él está con nosotros.
Really?
¿O sí?
Really?
¿O sí?
You think so?
¿Piensan así?
No high priest.
Sin sumo
If
ministro.
you dishonor the body,
Si has desestimado al cuerpo,
the head
la cabeza
withdraws.
se retira.
If you dishonor the
Si has
body,
desestimado al cuerpo,
the head
la cabeza
withdraws.
se retira.
There is a biblical principle that you don't want to talk
Hay un
about.
principio escritural del cual tú no quieres
There is a
hablar.
biblical principle that you don't want to
Hay un
discuss.
principio escritural que tú no quieres discutir.
And we see it in the book of
Y
Isaiah.
lo vemos en el libro de Isaías.
Surely, O Yahuwah Elohim of Israel,
Ciertamente, oh Yahweh, Elohim de Israel,
you are an Elohim
tú eres un
who
Elohim
hides yourself.
que te escondes.
Did you know that he hides? You think, oh, oh,
se esconde.
if I serve him, I'll hear from him, and I'll draw close to him, and he'll draw close to me. That's part of the story.
Si yo le sirvo, él se acercará a mí, yo me acercaré a él y él a mí. Esa es parte de la historia.
But if you disrespect
Pero
Moshe
si
and Aharon,
le faltas respeto a Moshe y a Aarón,
and you're drinking from the cup of
y
Python,
estás bebiendo de la copa de Pitón,
mark my words.
marca mis palabras.
Bookmark it like there's no tomorrow.
Marca las palabras.
Bookmark it.
Márcalas.
I will hide myself
Me esconderé
from you,
de ti,
says Yahuwah.
dice Yahuwah.
Because you're disrespecting
Que le estás faltando respeto
my government.
a mi gobierno.
There are many winds you don't want to have a part of your life. You know, Ruach.
Hay muchos Ruachim que no quieres que formen parte de tu vida.
Man,
2 or 3 gathered together in a bathroom.
Dos o tres
in a bad
reunidos
Ruach invites Python.
en el baño.
Well, if 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, you could have the name, you could have the Torah, but if you're entertaining different winds, then he will withdraw from you.
Sí, puedes tener el nombre,
Amén.
tener todas esas cosas, pero si no estás haciendo reverencia a la jerarquía de Yahuwah, se retira la Ruach de ti.
JR, if I heard verse 13 once,
JR, si yo he escuchado el
in
verso
35
13,
years, I think I've heard it a
una
million
vez
times.
en 35 años lo he escuchado 1,000,000 de veces.
I'm bald, look at me, I'm bald. Isn't bald beautiful? No.
Que no es la calvicie preciosa.
Yahweh didn't make you bald.
Yahuwah no te hizo calvo.
Everyone's sister didn't make you bald.
La ojota de todos no los hizo calvos.
You made yourself bald.
Tú te has hecho calvo.
Who were famous for being bald heads?
¿Quiénes son con renombre por
The
ser
ones we came out
de
of.
calvicie, de las que nos
Huh?
fuimos?
Every pharaoh, every leader of Mitzrayim, every servant of the sun god Ra, amen Ra,
Todo egipcio
was a bald head.
era un calvo.
Yahweh said, grow those beards.
Crezcan esas barbas.
Don't be bald.
No sean calvos.
If you're aging bald, that's one thing, but don't be bald by
No sean
choice.
calvos por su propia opción.
So Moshe said, they
Así
said,
que Moshe
Moshe, who made you a leader? Didn't you take up by
¿Quién
yourself?
hizo
And you
usted
took up.
un líder?
And Moshe said, no, you're taking up too
O
much.
sea, dijo, no, usted
Upon
está
yourself.
asumiendo demasiado.
So Moshe is in a war
Así que Moshe está en una guerra
with the spirit of Python.
con el espíritu de Pitón.
But see, he warred for you, friends.
Pero ven, él hizo guerra por
He
ustedes.
warred for the future of Israel.
Él hizo guerra por el futuro
If
de
he didn't stand in the gap against Python, we would not be here today. This is your story. This is part of the greatest love story ever told.
Si él no se hubiera levantado
He
en la
stood against
guerra,
Python so we could be here today.
luchando en contra de Pitona para que nosotros pudiéramos estar aquí hoy.
What happens if you had entertained
¿Qué pasa si hubieran entretenido
the spirit of
al
Python?
espíritu de Pitona?
What would have happened?
¿Qué hubiera pasado?
We'd be gone.
Este-
We'd be bald
Estaríamos desaparecidos,
and
calvos,
bald,
desaparecidos
and we'd be
calvos,
giving birth to children who were 40 years old and completely bald.
y dando a nacer hijos de 40 años de edad y completamente calvos,
Outcasts
echados fuera,
from the
rechazados
commonwealth,
de la mancomunidad,
from the garden
del jardín,
of our
del huerto,
dreams,
de nuestros sueños.
Gan Eden.
Gan Eden.
Moshe got on his knees.
Moshe se puso sobre su
Moshe stood in the gap.
Moshe se puso
The
en
one
la
they
brecha,
laughed at.
del
The
que
one
se
they
burlaron,
mocked.
del que se burlaron,
The one that they wanted to kill.
al que querían matar.
But it was he
Pero él era
who was raised up
el que fue levantado
to deliver them.
para rescatarlos.
What did Yahweh say about the Torah?
¿Qué dijo Yahuwah de la Torah?
I'm giving it to you,
Se la estoy dando a
to
ustedes,
those that are here
a los que están aquí,
with us
con
today,
nosotros hoy,
and to those that are not yet
y a los que
here.
todavía no están aquí.
He did this for us.
Él hizo esto por nosotros.
Are you with me? Moshe stood against the spirit of Python
Moshe se
for
levantó
us.
en contra del espíritu de Pitona por nosotros.
Had he not,
Y si no lo
had
hubiera
Korach
hecho,
had his way,
si Korach hubiera ganadole,
we would have all been killed in rebellion in the
todos
wilderness.
hubiéramos
And Messiah Yahusha
en rebelión en el desierto.
would not have been born,
Yahusha no hubiera nacido.
as Judah would have been
Ya
eliminated
que Yahuda hubiera sido
in the
eliminado
sand of the Arabian Sea.
en la arena del mar del desierto árabe.
Oh, I never thought of that. I'm here to help you.
Estoy aquí para ayudar.
Think about that.
Mediten.
Our Moshe Rabbeinu wrestled with Python,
Moshe, nuestro maestro, luchaba con Pitona
and he said this,
y dijo así,
so that we could be here today.
para que pudiéramos estar aquí
If
hoy.
you wrestle with Python
Si tú luchas
and you
con
don't
Pitona
succumb to it,
y no te
and you
sometes
get out
a
of
ella,
that camp of Python,
te escapas de
you
ese-
will live to celebrate, and your seed seed.
y te escapas de ese campamento de
That's a word for
Pitona,
somebody.
vivirás para celebrar tú con tu simiente.
But if you give in to Python,
Pero si te cedes a Pitona,
it'll finish you off.
Acabará contigo.
Python is a spirit that comes in at the end
Pitón es un espíritu que
to
viene al
pin you to
final
the mat.
para clavarte al tapete.
Mira, escúchame. Mola, Astarte, Ishtar, all these weird demonics. The devil
El diablo
sends Python
envía Pitona
to finish the job.
para acabar con la obra.
You had fear,
Tenías temor,
you had doubt,
duda,
you had questions.
preguntas.
Don't worry.
No te
Python is here
Pitón está aquí
to finish the job.
para acabar con el
And when
trabajo.
Yahuwah
Y
sees
cuando Yahuwah vea
that you don't fight against
que
Python
no luchas contra Pitona
and send her to the
y
pit,
le envías al abismo,
then the trouble
entonces el problema
has come to your door.
ha venido a tu entrada.
And it's a nasty thing.
Y es una cosa sucia.
Because now you're part of the rebellion.
Porque ya formas parte de la
When you
rebelión.
see rebellion,
Cuando ves rebelión,
you run to Moshe and Aaron.
huyes a Moshe y a
You don't hide from Moshe and
No te escondes
Aaron.
de Moshe y
Our
Aarón.
tendency is to hide in the tents of Korach.
Nuestra
Come on,
tendencia
somebody.
es escondernos en las tiendas
The
de
leaders
Korah.
don't understand.
Los líderes no entienden.
They're very aloof. A-L-O-F-F. Or if I spelled that right. They're very aloof. They're too holy.
Son demasiado católicos.
They're too busy.
Están demasiado ocupados.
They never listen to us
Nunca nos escuchan.
anyway.
De todos modos.
And they don't want us
Y no
involved.
quieren que estemos involucrados.
And we get all our own ideas of how things should be done.
Y luego conseguimos nuestras propias ideas de cómo deben de hacerse las cosas.
And so because we're all rebellious by human
Por cuanto
nature,
todos somos rebeldes en esencia
Python comes in
humana, entra Pitona
to kill you
para matarte
and finish the job.
y acabar con el trabajo.
But whenever Python raises its ugly head,
Pero cada vez que Pitona levanta
Remember
su
one
cabeza
thing.
fea, acuérdate
Yahuwah shows up
Yahuwah se presenta
and Yahuwah will destroy Python
y Yahuwah destruirá
if you
a
choose right,
si escoges lo
if you
correcto,
make the right choice.
si haces la decisión correcta.
Can I get a witness? If you take the first step,
Si tomas el primer paso,
Yahuwah will take the second
Yahuwah tomará
and the third. He'll rescue you.
el segundo y tercero y te
When he
rescatará.
sees you fighting Python,
Cuando él ve que tú estás luchando con Pitona,
he'll rescue you
te rescatará
and send Python to the pit.
y enviará a Pitona al abismo.
Are you with me? When he sees you dancing with
Pero
Python
cuando te ve danzando con Pitona
and entertaining
y
Python,
entreteniendo a Pitona,
he'll let Python choke you.
él permitirá que Pitona te ahorque.
Because we should learn from Scripture
Porque debemos de aprender de la escritura,
not to partake
de no participar
in that Ruach
en esa Ruach
and the baldness.
y la calvicie.
Look at verse 13.
Veamos el verso 3.
Is it a small thing, Moshe,
Es poco.
Aaron, that you brought us out of Egypt?
Que nos hayas hecho venir de Egipto.
Egypt, who was bald in Egypt?
¿Quién era
Everybody
calvo?
was bald in Egypt.
Todo el mundo era calvo en Egipto.
Rebellion was the order of the
La
day.
rebelión era la orden del yo.
Yahweh redeemed Israel to separate a people who would be submitted to him in the government of honor.
Yahuwah redimió
Our
al
people
pueblo
lived in rebellion
para ser apartado a
as
él.
slaves,
Yahuwah nos redimió de
and they
ellos
rebelled against their taskmaster.
siendo esclavos y ellos se rebelaron en contra de su supervisor.
Moshe, Aaron, we don't like you.
Moshe y Aarón no nos gusta.
You took us out of the land
Tú nos sacaste de la tierra,
flowing with milk and honey.
fluyendo de leche y miel.
Really? Up is down,
Arriba es abajo,
left is right,
izquierda es derecho,
black is white,
negro es blanco,
twisted sister
torcido,
is with twisted brother.
torcido es torcido.
Ozzy Osbourne is Leonard Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne es Leonard Osbourne.
Woe to those who who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter and light for darkness and darkness for light.
Hay de aquellos que tuercen las
They're
cosas.
calling Egypt. They're saying, Moshe, you took us out of the land flowing with milk and honey.
Están diciendo, Moshe, usted nos sacó de la
You
leche,
destroyed my life.
de la tierra que destila leche y miel. Destruyeron nuestras vidas.
Really? You mean it wasn't Pharaoh?
Oh, ¿no era Faraón?
You mean Egypt was Israel?
Dices que Egipto era Israel,
The promised land?
la tierra prometida.
What happened to these people?
¿Qué pasó con esta gente?
Python
Pitona
had brought a cancer
trajo un cáncer
to their brain,
a su cerebro,
to their
a su
mind,
mente.
and they could no longer think
Ya no podían
straight.
pensar.
You have to be mentally diseased
Tienes que estar mentalmente enfermo
to think all those bald heads in Egypt
para pensar que todos esos calvos en Egipto
was the promised land.
era la tierra de promesa.
And that Moses shouldn't have taught us about the
Y
land.
que Moshe no debió haber enseñadonos
The
del
Moshe
poder.
shouldn't have taught us about
Y que
deliverance.
Moshe no debió haber enseñadonos de la desencarnación.
Moshe should have left us there.
Moshe nos tuvo que haber dejado ahí.
Where?
¿En dónde?
There.
Allá.
Where?
¿En dónde?
There.
Allá.
So people come to this
Así que
community,
la gente viene a esta comunidad.
and in 2 months,
Y en 2 meses,
I'm their problem.
yo soy su problema.
They forget
Se les olvida
that they were on drugs,
que estaban en drogas,
that they were doing
que
heroin,
estaban haciendo heroína,
that they were shacking up,
que se estaban uniendo con personas
that they were not
indebidas,
married,
que no estaban casados,
that they were
que
fornicating.
estaban fornicando.
But now they look back
Pero ya miran hacia atrás
and they say, wow,
y dicen, pues,
that was the promised land.
esa era la tierra prometida.
And then that python
Y luego ese
spirit
espíritu de pituna
begins to play with their mind,
comienza a jugar con sus mentes
and they forget,
y se les
and they think
olvida.
everything was perfect.
Piensan que todo era perfecto
And I've got to get out of this
y
community
tengo que escapar
fast.
de esta comunidad rápido.
They forget
Se les
how
olvida
screwed up their Egypt was.
lo mal que era su Egipto.
And now they think Egypt is the promised
Y
land.
piensan que Egipto
And
es
they
la
go back to
tierra
Egypt.
prometida y regresan a
They're
Egipto.
vomit.
Yes. They actually believed that Egypt, when they were in Egypt, things were better until Konachowski came into their life.
En realidad piensan que Egipto era mejor hasta que Konachowski entró a su
And they're
vida.
right to a certain
Y
degree,
sí están en lo cierto hasta cierto
because
grado.
Konachowski can only help those who want help.
Porque Konachowski solo puede ayudar a los que quieren
As
la
soon as you
ayuda.
shut the door, I can't help you.
Tan pronto como le cierras la entrada no te puedo ayudar.
As soon as you disappear, I can't
Tan
help.
pronto como te desapareces no te puedo ayudar.
So look what they said.
Así que vean lo que dijeron.
We know what this community of Israel is.
Sabemos lo que es esta comunidad de Israel.
You took us away from the promised
Nos
land.
quitaste, sacaste de la tierra prometida.
Marital infidelity,
La infidelidad en el convenio de
generational curses,
maldiciones generacionales,
a family history of illegitimacy,
historia de familia de ilegitimidad,
divorcio.
divorcio.
You took us out of that beautiful
Nos
promised land.
sacaste de esa tierra preciosa prometida.
And because you want power over us,
Y por
Aharon,
cuanto quieres poder sobre nosotros, Aarón,
you brought us here to die.
nos trajiste aquí a morir.
Look at the end of verse 13.
Miren el final del verso 13.
And this is, if I have heard this once,
Y si he escuchado esto una vez,
I've heard this
lo he escuchado
20 million times.
20 millones de veces.
Who made you
¿Quién les hizo a ustedes?
the leader?
El líder.
And if you ask a leader
Y si tú le preguntas al
and
a
they
un
and they
líder
can't answer that,
y no te pueden responder,
then you shouldn't even follow them.
entonces no debes de seguirles.
Yahweh made Moshe and Aharon leaders.
Yahweh hizo a Moshe y a Aarón líderes.
But Korach,
Pero Korach,
who made you the leader?
¿quién lo hizo a usted líder?
Why do you have to be in charge of everything?
Porque tiene que estar a cargo de todo.
Why do you have to be in charge of all these
Porque
ministries?
tiene que estar a cargo de todos estos ministerios.
So if somebody asked me that, like verse 13,
Así que si alguien me hubiera preguntado
you know what I
eso,
would respond?
como en el verso 13, ¿saben lo que yo respondería?
Actually, I send Rivka to Walmart to buy pacifiers.
En sí enviaré a Ruach a comprar pacificadores.
Yeah. And start distributing them.
Y para comenzar
Now
a
do you get the
distribuir.
message? It's not that you're too young or too ugly or too much of a female.
No es que eres demasiado
I love
joven,
females.
o mujer o
Nothing
feo.
makes me happier than to appoint people.
Nadie me hace más alegre que señalar a personas.
But we got to get rid of the
Pero
pacifiers.
tenemos que deshacernos de los pacificadores.
The immaturity. How do I know if I'm mature? How are you doing with honoring the leaders that he has showed you?
¿Cómo sé si soy inmaduro? ¿Cómo has estimado a los líderes que él te
How
ha
are you doing?
enseñado?
If you're doing good, then you're on your way into
Si
leadership.
estás
You're on your way.
haciendo las cosas de manera correcta, estás
I
en
can
el
tell you
camino.
right now, you will be a leader one day.
Que en algún yom serás un líder.
But see, but they accuse the ones who were there to help them.
Pero acusan a los que están ahí para ayudarles.
And they said,
Y dicen,
who made you leader?
¿quién te hizo a ti líder?
You know, people always say to me,
La gente siempre
oh,
me dice,
Rabbi.
Rabino,
You know what I know? I mean, can we talk? Can we do something?
¿podemos
What's that lady
conversar?
in the newspaper that always pops up? Ann Landers, is that her? Or Dear A.B.?
Dear Abby.
Huh? Dear A.B. A.B., baby. I get this all the time. Dear apostate,
Querido apóstol,
why do you charge for the word of
¿por
gold?
qué cobra por la palabra de Dios?
$90 for a Bible.
$90 por una
That's
escritura.
unheard of.
Eso no se ha escuchado.
You're ripping people off.
Está robándole a la
You're a
gente.
false prophet.
Es un profeta falso.
Yahweh didn't call you.
Yahweh no lo llamó.
You're just a money machine.
Es una máquina de dinero.
Okay. So you know what I tell those people?
¿Saben lo que le digo a la gente?
Sin problemas.
No hay problemas.
You print.
Usted imprímalo.
You pay.
Usted páguelo.
You find a printer.
Usted busque una impresora.
You pay for the production.
Pague la producción.
You spend 2 years
Gastes
translating
2
and
años
everything. And I'll send you the $90.
editando
No problem.
Y yo le envío a usted los $90.
Because when I order, I got to spend $500, $600, $700, $1,000, $3,000. I'll tell you what. You're right. You print it and publish it, and I'll order it from you, and I'll send you the $90. Well, I can't do that. I don't have any money. Then shut up. I don't have any money either. How come I can publish it? Because Yahweh was with me.
Amen.
¿Cómo lo puedo publicar?
I don't have any money either.
Yo tampoco tengo dinero.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. I said Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. Someone's enjoying this. You made yourself a leader over us.
Usted se hizo líder por encima de nosotros.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah.
Baruch Hashem.
Follow the wrong leader, you might wind up where Python winds
Si
up.
siguen al líder equivocado, se van a
Be
acabar
careful who
donde
you
está
honor.
Pitona. Tengan cuidado a quien estiman.
You honor someone who wasn't sent to take you out of Egypt and teach you the Torah, you'll wind up in the same pit.
Si estiman a alguien que no fue enviado para sacarlos de Egipto, van a acabar en el mismo.
It might take
pozo.
3 years,
Quizás se lleve 3 años.
but that's eventually where you'll wind up.
Pero es ahí donde van a acabar.
So leadership is very important.
Así que el liderazgo es muy importante.
Not so much the leader only,
No tanto solamente el líder,
but have you chosen
pero has escogido tú
the ones Yahuwah has
a los
chosen?
que Yahweh ha escogido.
Hello? Have you
Has
chosen
escogido
the ones Yahuwah
a
has
los que
chosen?
Yahweh ha escogido.
Does this make sense?
¿Están entendiendo?
You are responsible for who teaches you.
Tú eres
I can't teach you.
responsable
You
por
walk
quien
out
te
this
enseña.
door, lose my number, and put earplugs in your ears, our relationship's over.
Tú tienes la responsabilidad de quién es tu líder.
If I take my family to a congregation,
Si yo llevo a mi familia a una congregación,
it's not Rivka and everyone's sister,
no es
the Mariamni. That's responsible.
la responsabilidad
For who
de
teaches us? I am.
Miami acerca de quién nos enseña.
You husbands, you better be sure that I'm sent by Yahuwah.
Ustedes maridos tienen que confirmar que yo sea enviado por
Because
Yahweh.
you're a fool if you let anybody teach you.
Porque son fatos y permiten
You're
que
a
alguien
fool.
les enseñe. Son fatos.
You are responsible for
Ustedes
who speaks into your ear.
son responsables de quién les habla al oído.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah.
Baruch Hashem.
So there's the attitude of Python.
Así que ahí está la actitud de
Hey,
Pitona.
go challenge the leader.
Ve a retar al líder.
Go challenge them.
Ve a retar.
Ignore them.
Ignóralo.
Don't meet with them.
No te reúnas con
Bypass them.
y
Find a tent that you're comfortable with.
busca una tienda con la que estás cómodo.
How did that work out for you in the world?
¿Cómo te funciona eso en el mundo?
Huh? Before, when I was a heathen, how many know I was a good heathen?
Cuando yo era pagano,
Not good eating, good heathen.
que yo era un excelente pagano.
Not heathen, a heathen.
Cuando yo paganeaba,
Turn to your neighbor and say,
paganeaba.
I always thought he was heathenistic in his
Siempre
background.
pensé que era
Yeah, and I
pagano.
did it good, man.
Sí, y era excelente.
So we're being dull in my spiritual capabilities,
Así que siendo turbado en mis capacidades espirituales,
being a spiritual loser.
siendo un perdedor espiritual,
I did what Simon and Garfunkel
yo
did.
hacía lo que hacían Simon y
I went
Garfunkel.
to 42nd Street, the red light district, and I found some comfort there.
Ahí iba a la calle 42 en
Oh
encontré
yeah,
consolación.
yeah, that was me.
Sí, ese era yo.
Why are you looking at me that way?
¿Por qué me ven así?
Want me to slap you upside your
¿Quieren que
head?
los abofetee?
Oh, I love those shoe shines,
Oh, me gustaba
especially the
ese
topless ones.
brillar de
But I'm
los
not that
zapatos.
person anymore.
Pero ya no soy esa persona.
Huh? Some of you men ever get a topless shoe shine?
Algunos de ustedes
That's what
han
they offer
recibido
in the red light district.
una limpieza de zapatos sin camisa.
But I thought, well, I'm in charge of my life.
Pero yo pensaba, yo estoy a cargo de mi vida
And I'm not submitted to
y
anybody.
no me someto a
And I'm
nadie.
taking comfort where I'm comfortable. That's the first sign that you're still a baby.
Donde estoy
You're
siendo
taking
consolado.
spiritual comfort where you're comfortable and not where honor and divine government demand something from you.
Estás tomando consolación del lugar donde tú quieres y no de donde te requiere el gobierno de Yahuwah.
Of course we want to relate to
Por
people we're comfortable
supuesto
with.
que queremos afiliarnos con personas con las
If I'm
que estamos
discontented,
cómodos. Si no estoy contento
and I want to gossip,
y quiero chismear,
I'm not going to come to Benjamin
no voy a venir a
because
Benjamin
he's going to come right to me.
porque él va a venir directamente
I'm going to
a mí.
find someone who's bald,
Yo voy a encontrar a alguien quien sea calvo
and I'm comfortable with that.
y tengo comodidad con él.
So the more you learn and are submitted in honor
Así que por más que aprendas y te sometas en la estima,
to those that you're not comfortable with,
aquellos con los que no tienes con
you're
comodidad,
growing, you're maturing.
estás creciendo, estás madurando.
That shows that you're being led by the Ruach.
Eso enseña que estás siendo guiado por la Ruach.
Can I get a witness?
Amen.
Who made you a leader?
¿Quién te hizo un líder?
How many have been here for more than 2 months? Can I see your
¿Quiénes
hand?
han estado aquí por más de
For
2
more than
meses?
2 months. Have you ever, now be honest with me, do not lie to the Ruach. Have you ever heard anybody said, you know, how do we know he started this group to make himself a leader? Have you ever heard that?
Yep.
Don't lie to me. You've heard that, right?
Yes.
Who made him the leader? I ask myself the same question sometimes. And then the Ruach reminds me, don't quit on me. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. It's not easy being a leader.
No es fácil ser un líder.
But I'll tell you what, you know how I know I'm called?
¿Saben cómo sé que
Not because I'm a good
llamado?
speaker. I could have been in the
Porque sea
movies and been a good speaker.
una
You know how I know I'm
persona
called?
elocuente. ¿Saben por qué sé que
Because,
soy
listen to me, you
llamado?
might learn something.
Escúchenme.
Because this is the only thing I never quit on.
Porque esta es la única cosa en la que no me di por vencido.
When I worked jobs, I had a different job every month.
Cuando trabajaba trabajos tenía un trabajo diferente cada mes.
When I tried to get a date, I had a different girl every week.
Cuando quería una cita de amor tenía
All
una
right?
mujer
I
cada-
was
diferente
consistent
cada
about
semana.
nothing in my life.
No era consistente en nada en mi vida.
The only thing that I was consistent about was being inconsistent.
La única cosa en la que era consistente era en ser inconsistente.
But when he called me in October of 1984,
Pero cuando él me llamó en octubre
he
de
told me to tell my Jewish
1984,
people that they've been lied to.
y me dijo que le dijera a mi pueblo judío
That
que
I
se
have
les
come.
había mentido, que yo había venido
And that I'm here.
y que estoy aquí.
I've never been the same.
Nunca he
I
sido
never
el mismo.
quit on him.
Nunca me di por
I've done the work of the
vencido.
ministry
He hecho la labor del
since
ministerio
October of 1984.
desde octubre
That's
de
how I know I'm called.
1984.
Because if this was a hobby or a money-making scheme, I'd be long gone into the coffee business, or I'd open up a Vietnamese nail salon.
Así es como sé que soy
And I'd
llamada.
hire Chris to do my translations. All right? This is the only thing I've ever stuck to in my
Eso
life.
es lo único con lo que me ha aferrado toda mi vida.
Heaven forbids me from moving from this calling.
Prohíbalo, Yahuwah, que él me mueva de ser movido de este llamado.
Every time someone leaves,
Cada vez que
I
alguien
get
se va,
discouraged and I feel like quitting.
me desanimo y siento que me quiero dar por vencido.
And by the time Friday rolls around when I feel like quitting again,
Y para el tiempo que llega el viernes y siento
I
que me
say,
quiero dar por
watch
vencido
this.
otra vez, digo de
Saturday
nuevo,
morning, I'll
El
come in with
Shabbat,
two
por la mañana.
Etzei Chaim blazing,
Vengo-
the 2 scrolls of Torah blazing, and I'm going to give the devil a headache and get the hell out of my way, for it is written, greater is Yahuwah in the heavens than he that roams the earth. Every time he attacks me, I renew the only thing that I've been stable at in my life. This is the only thing that I have been stable at in
Esta
my
es la
life.
única cosa en la que he sido estable toda mi vida.
I don't seek a change
No busco un cambio,
because he is the same yesterday,
porque él es el mismo ayer,
today, and forever.
hoy y para siempre.
And he expects me to be.
Y él quiere que yo lo
I
sea.
will never leave you or forsake you.
No te dejo ni te abandono.
He expects us to be that way.
Él espera que seamos
We
así.
just love.
Simplemente amamos.
Sloppy agape, loosey goosey,
El agape.
goosebumps, living by the next goosebump. We love
Amamos.
to quote that verse.
Citar ese
For the
verso.
Lord say, what Lord? Jesus.
Porque el soberano
I'll
redimió.
never leave you or
¿Qué
forsake you.
soberano? El soberano Yahusha. Nunca
Okay.
te dejaré ni te
He did say that,
abandonaré.
right?
Sí, él dijo eso.
But what
¿cierto?
about you?
Pero ¿qué tal tú?
In the last 5 years,
En los últimos 5 años,
after he called you
después de que él te
and gave you
llamó
authority
y te dio autoridad
and put you in your
y
lane,
te puso en su
how
línea,
many times
¿cuántas veces
have you left him
lo has dejado
and forsaken him?
y lo has abandonado?
How many times?
¿Cuántas veces?
We give it a pretty nightgown.
Le damos una excelente
You know what
batita.
the name of the pretty nightgown
¿Saben cómo
is?
se llama esa batita?
Backslidden.
Resbalar.
But it's not pretty.
Pero no es preciosa.
Let's get this straight. If I'm supposed to be like him
Entendamos esto. Si yo estoy supuesta a
and
ser
he never
como él,
leaves me or
y
forsakes
él
me,
nunca me deja ni me abandona,
why have I left him and forsaken him 4 times in the last year?
Lo he
Why?
dejado.
Because some
Lo he
bald dude
abandonado.
put garbage in my head.
4 veces este año porque un hombre calvo puso basura en mi cabeza.
There's two sides to that scripture.
Ven, hay dos lados
Right?
a esa escritura.
I'll never leave you or forsake you.
Nunca te dejaré ni te abandonaré.
Therefore, please don't leave me.
Por lo tanto, no me dejes a mí.
And please don't backslide.
Por favor, no te resbales.
And don't forsake
Y
me.
no me abandones.
It's an affair. It's a love affair.
Es una
You and Yahusha.
es un asunto, una relación de amor entre ti y Yahusha.
Why would you do to him
¿Por qué le harías tú a él
what he doesn't do to you?
lo que él no te hace a ti?
Because we don't like the responsibility.
Porque no nos gusta la responsabilidad.
When someone has authority,
Cuando alguien tiene
they have a
autoridad,
responsibility to do the right thing.
tenemos la autoridad de hacer lo correcto.
I'll never leave you or forsake you.
Nunca te dejaré ni te abandonaré.
But what about us?
Pero ¿qué tal
We
nosotros?
reserve the right
Reservamos el
to go back to
derecho
heroin and the
para
nightclubs
regresar a la heroína y a los clubes nocturnos.
because we're human.
Porque somos humanos.
But Yahusha says, if you love me,
Pero Yahusha dijo, si
you'll
me
keep my
amas,
commandments,
guardarás mis mandamientos
and you'll never leave
y
me
nunca me dejarás
or forsake
ni
me.
me abandonarás.
Meaning you'll never backslide.
Quiere decir que nunca te resbalarás.
If you love him, you will never
Si lo
backslide.
amas, nunca te resbalarás.
When you backslide is when you love yourself
Cuando
more
te
than you love
resbalas,
him.
es cuando te amas a ti más que a él.
Another bad choice.
Otra decisión mala.
Verse 14.
Verso 14.
I deceived myself.
Yo me engaño
I
a mí
thought I
mismo.
was going to get through this message
Yo pensé
in one session.
que iba yo a pasar este mensaje en una sola
Ain't
sesión.
happening, dude. I'm talking
Pero
to
no va
myself
a
now.
acontecer.
Ain't happening. This Korach business could be a 5-parter alone.
Este asunto de Korach puede quizás ser una serie de 5 partes.
I'm not doing too well. I only got through 14 verses.
Solo he pasado
I thought I'd be done with the chapter.
Pensé que acabaría con el capítulo.
Moreover,
Y más aún,
you have not brought us
tú no nos has traído
into a land
a una tierra
that flows with milk and honey.
que fluye con leche y miel.
You have not given us
No nos has dado
an inheritance
una herencia
in the fields and the vineyards.
en los campos y viñas.
We followed you and we have sand.
Te seguimos y
We
tienes
followed you and
arena.
we have dirt.
Te seguimos y tienes tierra.
We followed you and we have no air conditioning.
Tenemos y no tienes aire acondicionado.
Since I came to Goshen
Desde que
Betzafon,
llegué
I
a
haven't had a job.
No he tenido un trabajo.
Must be that I'm under crappy leadership.
Entonces es que debo de estar bajo liderazgo malo.
Maybe I'll play musical church.
Quizás toco en una
You know, let
iglesia
my fingers do
musical.
the walking. You know how Rivka and I used to look for a church home? Can we talk? Is dear Abby still here? I mean Abby Road. You know how we used to look for, like some of you. Remember Rivki? Look under C for church. Then we look under what? Did I do C? Then we look under D.
Buscamos bajo la
I'm sorry, N
N
for non-denominational.
para no denominación.
Then we look under D again for do what thou wilt.
Y buscamos haz lo que quieras.
Then we look under N for no nursery.
Y buscamos no hay nursería.
We don't want
o
to change anybody else's diapers.
nadie que cuide a los niños.
And we play church roulette. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch it. They're all good. Find one with air conditioning, Rifki. Eeny, meeny, miny. Flatbush? That's where the Dodgers used to play. And then we said, no, sorry, we can't go to Brooklyn. We need some. We went back to church roulette. Okay, let's look for one in Queens.
Oh,
Flushing, because we live close to Flushing, Queens College. Then we called the pastor. Pastor, do you have barbecues and pizza? Yes. You have guest speakers? Famous? Did you invite, is Kanye West coming? Is Kanye West coming in sometime within next month? Okay, we're gonna be there next Shabbos. Bye. We have to join that, Koiki,
Tenemos que unirnos con esa iglesia que
because
tenga
Kanye's coming.
tantas cosas que proveer, tantas cosas que enseñar, tales como celebridades como Kanye West.
Some of you may go to church to see Kanye.
Quizás algunos
If I was
de
that
ustedes
stupid, I'd go to church to see Kim.
vayan a la iglesia para
But I ain't
ir
that stupid
a ver a
anymore.
Kanye.
Praise God. I ain't that stupid anymore. The marbles are gone. The Spirit has come. I got my head covered. I'm not bald. I got divine government over me. Brownfield talks to me. Corn talks to me. I'm not a lone ranger anymore.
Corn me habla. Ya no soy un llanero solitario.
Baruch Hashem
Baruch
Yahuwah.
Hashem Yahuwah.
Verse
Verso
14.
14.
Now look what they do. They accuse
Miren lo
him.
que hacen, lo acusan.
Instead of giving these men spiritual vision and
En lugar
mentorship,
de darle visión espiritual a estos hombres y mentoría,
Moshe, Aharon,
Moshe, a Aarón,
are you going to put their eyes out?
vas a apagarle los ojos.
Oh, wow. What an accusation.
¿Qué acusación?
Ever since I've been in Goshen, I haven't worked. I've been able to pay my bills. I've been sick. Every week I've been sick. I can't see. I'm blind.
Estoy ciego.
Accusing
No puedo ver.
Yahuwah's leaders.
Acusando a los líderes de Yahuwah.
They actually accused him
En realidad lo
of
acusaron
wanting to put out their
de
eyes.
querer sacarle los ojos.
What kind of
sacarle
eyes?
los ojos. ¿Qué tipo de ojos?
What kind of
¿Qué
eyes?
tipo de ojos?
The eyes of the Ruach,
Los
the
ojos
eyes
de
of
la
the
Ruach.
Spirit.
Los ojos del Espíritu.
He is the Spirit with 7
Él
eyes.
es la Ruach con 7 ojos.
You're going to make us spiritually
Nos
blind
vas a encegar espiritualmente
by making yourself our boss.
al hacerse nuestro jefe.
And man, you should have just left us in Egypt
Más vale nos hubiera dejado en Egipto
with all the other bald
con
heads.
todos los calvos.
Because we all know
Porque todos
that was
sabemos.
the land flowing with milk and honey.
Esa es la tierra que fluye de leche y
Which
miel.
was the true land flowing with milk
¿Cuál
and
era
honey?
la real tierra que fluye con leche y miel?
Ahead and not behind. Ahead and not behind. Ahead and not behind. He that looks back, putting his hand to the plow, Matthew chapter 11, is not fit for the kingdom. Go back.
El que ve hacia atrás,
If you
poniendo
keep
su
looking
mano
back,
sobre
just
el
go
arado,
back.
no es digno del reino. Si sigues viendo hacia atrás, regrésate.
No man
Ningún hombre
putting his hand to the
poniendo su
plow
mano al arado
is fit
es digno
for the kingdom
del reino
of Yahuwah.
de Yahuwah.
Don't cry over spilled milk.
No llores por leche
Don't
que
cry
se,
over the ones who are not with
que se ha
us.
tirado. No llores por aquellos
Celebrate
que
the
no están con
ones who are here.
nosotros. Celebra a los que están aquí.
Celebrate the ones who are
Celebra
still here.
a los que siguen aquí
And become members
y háganse miembros
of their life.
de su vida.
And they are become members of your life.
Se han convertido en miembros de su vida.
So at the end, verse 14,
Así que al final del verso
we
14,
will not come up.
no subiremos.
Come up where?
¿Subiremos a dónde?
Come up where?
Subiremos
Well,
a
Moshe
dónde.
called them.
Moshe les llamó.
He said, tomorrow, Yahuwah is calling you.
Así que dice, mañana Moshe Yahuwah les está llamando.
Stay with me here.
Quédense conmigo.
Don't think about the meatloaf
No piensen
or the ground turkey.
en la comida.
We will not. And
Nosotros,
I'm going to end on this because some of us are still learning to outgrow our Baptist butts. I may end on this. I may go on. I'll see what the Ruach tells me. Watch this. Look at the end of verse 14.
Vean el final del verso 14.
We will not come up.
Nosotros no subiremos.
Come up where?
¿Subir a dónde?
To the World Trade Center? Come up where? Go back. Go back
Regresen
to verse 5.
al verso 5.
If you're just joining us in Cuba or Brazil or India, we have people today listening around the world.
Si acaban de unirse con nosotros de Cuba, de Brasil, de donde
Love
quiera
you.
que estén en la India, estamos aquí con mucha gente de todo el mundo. Les amamos.
He said to Korach,
Le dijo a Korach,
come to meet
ven a encontrarte
with me.
conmigo.
Come to meet
Ven a encontrarte
with Aharon.
con Aarón.
Come to meet
Ven a encontrarte
at the door of the
en la entrada
tabernacle.
de la casa de
And
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah will show
Y
you
Yahuwah te enseñará
who his leaders are
quiénes son sus líderes
to stand at the altar.
para estar delante del altar.
Now look at the end of verse
Y vean
14.
el final del verso 14.
We are not going to meet
No nos vamos a reunir
with you.
contigo.
Now we might talk to JR.
Quizás hablemos con JR.
We're comfortable.
Estamos cómodos.
We might talk to Mommy Minga.
Quizás hablemos con mamá
She's a
Minga.
sweetheart.
Ella es un dulce.
We're not going to meet with you.
No vamos a reunirnos.
We already met with you.
Ya nos reunimos con usted.
We see how you take authority
Vemos
that's
cómo
not
usted toma
yours
autoridad que no es suya.
all these days.
Todos estos yamim.
We don't need to meet.
No tenemos que reunirnos.
Just because Moshe and Aharon asked you to meet,
Solo porque
I am
Moshe
going to take
y
my
Aarón
head covering off
pidieron que nos reunamos, me voy a quitar mi cobertura
and I will meet
y me reuniré
with everyone
con todos,
except the ones heaven sent.
menos con los que envió los Shamaim.
I want you to stare at that.
Quiero que vean
Just like you're
eso.
staring at me for the last
Así
hour.
como me estaban viendo.
Look at
con
the end of
la-
verse, but I'm used to it, don't worry. Look at the end of verse 14.
Vean el final del verso 14.
Look at the end of verse 14.
Vean el final del verso 14.
We will not meet.
No subiremos.
Now look at me.
Vean.
Have you ever heard that?
¿Han oído eso?
He doesn't listen.
Él no escucha.
He doesn't care.
No le importa.
He's in a high tower.
Está en una torre alta.
He's on a power trip.
Está muy enfocado en su poder.
Brothers and sisters, there's nothing new under the sun.
Fraternos y fraternas, no hay
Hello?
nada nuevo bajo el
There's
Shemesh.
nothing new under the
No hay
sun.
nada nuevo bajo el Shemesh.
These
Sol.
people have made
Esta
them.
gente
So it's a terrible
es
thing
una cosa terrible.
when people make themselves bald.
Cuando la gente se hace calva.
What they don't understand was
Pero lo que no entienden es
Moshe
que
and Aaron back in verse 5
Moshe y Aarón en el verso
asked to
5
meet with them.
pidieron reunirse con ellos.
And then once Yahweh showed
Y
them
una vez que Yahuwah les enseñó
that they needed to stay in the authority that they
que
had,
necesitaban mantenerse en la autoridad.
what was the
que tenían.
authority?
¿Qué era la autoridad?
Love your brother,
Amen a su
serve your
prójimo.
brother,
Sirvan a su prójimo.
work with your brother,
Trabajen con su prójimo.
evangelize the lost,
Evangelicen a los perdidos.
bring them to the camp.
Tráiganlos al campamento.
Just stay in your lane.
Manténganse en su línea.
And they said,
Y
we
dijeron,
will not meet with you.
No nos
See,
reuniremos con
what they
ustedes.
didn't
Que
understand
lo que ellos no comprendían
was it wasn't Moshe and Aaron demanding a meeting.
es que no era Moshe y Aarón que requerían
Go back
la,
to verse
que
5.
mandaron la reunión. Regresen al
Moshe
verso 5.
says,
Moshe dijo,
he prayed, he fell on his face,
él oró, cayó sobre su rostro
and he said to Korach and his bald
y le
heads,
dijo a Korach y a todo su séquito de calvos,
if you meet with us,
si se reúnen con nosotros,
you will see Yahuwah.
verán a Yahuwah.
Because where we
Porque
are,
donde nosotros
and
estamos
when we meet with
y
you,
donde nos reunamos con ustedes,
Yahuwah will be there.
Yahuwah estará ahí.
Yahuwah will be there.
Yahuwah estará ahí.
And now go back to
Y
14.
regresen al verso 14.
We will not
No
come up.
subiremos.
We will not
No
respect you.
le respetaremos.
Because when we get there,
Porque cuando lleguemos ahí,
Yahuwah may correct us.
Yahuwah quizás nos corrija.
Because Yahuwah is going to be there
Porque Yahuwah va a estar ahí.
at the door of the
A la
tabernacle.
entrada del azúcar.
Sorry,
Perdonen.
we will not meet with
No
you.
nos reuniremos con usted.
Just because you're the leader
Solo porque usted sea el líder.
doesn't give you the
No
right
le da el derecho
to demand a
de
meeting
requerir una reunión
to make shalom.
para hacer la shalom.
You have no rights.
No tiene derechos.
We choose
Escogemos
to remain
permanecer
bald.
calvos.
The Python plot,
El complot de Pitona,
part 4.
parte 4.
Baruch Hashem, Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Ladies, please come forward.
Ay, vengan hacia adelante.
Praise be to God. Please come forward. At this time, we want to wish, we don't wish, we send favor and brachot to all of Israel
En este momento le enviamos brachot a todo Israel,
scattered abroad.
esparcido por donde quiera.
Oh, our brother Ernesto Palacios
His
is
son.
tuned in.
Ah,
From Colombia?
no, he lives, I think, in the U.S.
Okay.
Maybe.
So what a blessing to
I don't know
see
where he lives. actually.
everybody.
No, no.
So Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. Tomorrow, please join us
Mañana únanse con nosotros
at 12
a las 12 de la tarde
for new month number 12.
para el Jodesh mes nuevo número 12,
We'll hope to continue
último mes del año, y esperamos
in
continuar
today's teaching.
en la enseñanza de hoy.
And today we thank Yahuwah.
Y hoy le damos hodú a
We are
Yahuwah,
members one of
que somos
another.
miembros el uno del
And
otro,
we have learned a great deal
y hemos aprendido
we give honor to
grandemente,
Yahuwah
y le damos estima a
and to the
Yahuwah
government that He has
y
established.
al gobierno que Él ha establecido.
Because
El Shabbat
praise Yahuwah. It is Shabbat. Praise Yahuwah. It is Shabbat. Praise Yahuwah. It is Shabbat. It is Shabbat. Praise Yahuwah. It is Shabbat. Praise Yahuwah. It is Shabbat. Praise Yahuwah. Spoon Patrol. Baruch Hashem.
Monday.
Yeah. I don't know. You told Moshe to go down this road. Against the magician.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was power was greater. than the power really is. So that was the first. Yeah, it could be. That was power was greater. Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
My name shall be seen.